What if the Roman Empire had never fallen? What if history had taken a different turn? Imagine this: the Roman Empire, at the height of its glory, never collapses under the weight of internal conflict, economic instability, or the barbarian invasions that fragmented Europe. Imagine a world where the engineering marvels, cultural advancements, and centralized political systems of ancient Rome continue to thrive for centuries. In this speculative journey, we dare to rewrite history, exploring how modern Europe and the world could look if Rome's golden age endured. But before we dive into this thought experiment, let us know what you think. Would a stronger, uninterrupted Roman Empire make for a better world, or a worse one? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more deep dives into history and alternate timelines. To understand what might have been, let's start with what actually was. At its peak, the Roman Empire stretched across 2.5 million square miles, encompassing vast swathes of Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Its influence over the political systems, infrastructure, and culture of these territories cannot be overstated, but it didn't last. By 476 CE, the once mighty Western Roman Empire crumbled, weakened by internal economic struggles, corruption, and relentless invasions by migrating tribes like the Vandals and Visigoths. The empire's fall ushered in the so-called Dark Ages, a period marked by a fragmentation of knowledge, technology, and governance across Europe. Trade routes deteriorated, cities suffered abandonment, and for centuries, Europe struggled to reassemble what Rome had unified. So what if that unity had never been broken? Picture this: the Roman Empire defies collapse, maintaining its dominance across Europe and beyond. Rather than a patchwork of warring kingdoms, imagine a continent unified under centralized rule, with easy mobility along its well-maintained roads, common currency, and a unified administration. Individuals could travel from Britannia to Egypt seamlessly. The wars that defined medieval Europe, conflicts over territory, religion, and resources, may never have occurred. Instead, the Roman Pax Romana, or Roman peace, might have endured for centuries, fostering collaboration and innovation. A united Europe under Rome might resemble the modern European Union, but centuries ahead of its time. Would this enduring peace have allowed Europe to become the uncontested global superpower of the ancient and modern world? Or would unchecked Roman authority have bred its own set of divisive challenges? The fall of Rome led to the decline of centralized governance, urban decay, and the loss of scientific and literary advancements for generations. With no Roman collapse, there's a strong case to be made that the Middle Ages, defined by feudalism, scattered kingdoms, and religious dominance over intellectual freedom, could have been avoided entirely. With institutions like Roman colleges and libraries preserved and thriving, progress in fields like medicine, astronomy, and mathematics could have advanced at an exponentially faster rate. Would the printing press have been invented in the 10th century instead of the 15th? Could the scientific revolution and industrial age have come 5 centuries earlier? Imagine how far humanity could have progressed if the intellectual setbacks of the Dark Ages were replaced with uninterrupted innovation. Could we have landed on the moon in the 1700s instead of the 20th century? Let's shift our focus to culture. The Roman Empire was a melting pot of diverse peoples, customs, and ideas. Preserving its dominance could have further spread Roman cultural values across the globe. Latin, already the root of so many modern languages, might have become an even more universal language. Roman art and architecture, celebrated for their scale and sophistication, might have shaped even regions they historically never reached. Religiously, the endurance of Rome might have profoundly affected Christianity. As the empire adopted Christianity in its later years, its survival could have provided the church with an even stronger foothold earlier on. On the flip side, the rise of Islam, which flourished after Rome's collapse, might have taken a very different trajectory had a united Roman authority governed Mediterranean trade and political stability. How would global faith systems have evolved under Rome's extended command? Even modern cities might owe their layouts to such a reality. Ancient Roman approaches to city planning, grids, aqueducts, sewage systems, might have spread even further, affecting urbanization worldwide. Could this have led to earlier global megacities, sustainably designed centuries before their time? Rome's vast trade networks tied Europe, Africa, and Asia into a thriving exchange of goods, culture, and ideas. If Rome had maintained this dominance, global trade might look entirely different. Instead of fragmented trade routes shaped by rival kingdoms and empires, we could imagine a continuous Roman trade web linking Europe to China and beyond. A stable Roman economy could also mean completely different patterns in world expansion. Consider this: would the age of exploration have been delayed if Rome's control extended into the Americas through indirect influence or early discovery? The Spanish, Portuguese, and later colonists built their empires on the ruins of feudal Europe's competing states. But a unified Rome might have reshaped colonization or even avoided it. What happens to global political borders in a world where Rome holds much of the ancient known world together? One area where Rome could lead history on an alternate path is technological advancement. The empire, with its engineering ingenuity, aqueducts, roads, concrete, already signaled its capacity for innovation. A stable Rome might have poured resources into scientific discovery for centuries uninterrupted. Some historians speculate Rome had the foundational knowledge for steam power during its height. Could we have seen Roman industrialization centuries early? Would robotics, space travel, or advancements in medicine have arrived in an alternate, accelerated timeline thanks to Rome's enduring stability? Military technology too would likely have developed differently. With a continued need to defend its vast borders, Rome might have pioneered innovations that reshaped the global balance of power much earlier in human history. It's tempting to think of an empire that thrives perpetually as a utopia of stability and progress. But would it really have been so simple? History shows us how power can corrupt even the most advanced systems. Maintaining control over a territory as vast as Rome's would remain a challenge. Internal rebellions, disillusionment within its provinces, and the inevitable disparity between differing cultures and classes could have sparked unrest. Would a longer-lasting Rome crumble under its own weight eventually? Or would it give rise to dystopian control, stifling the cultural and political individuality of its territories? Diversity is one of the strengths of the modern world. Could a single dominant culture and government have erased that richness in the quest for unity? Rome's power, though centered in Europe, defined much of the known world. A continuous Roman presence might have shaped regions like Africa and Asia differently. Relations with influential civilizations, such as China's dynasties or India's empires, could have opened up new alliances, rivalries, or exchanges of knowledge. And what of the Americas? Would European discovery of the New World have been delayed or reimagined? Perhaps indigenous cultures would have evolved more independently, influencing Rome instead of being influenced by the European powers created after Rome's fall. With so many ripple effects, it's fascinating to imagine how the modern global political framework, governments, borders, alliances, could differ if all roads always led to Rome. In a world where the Roman Empire never fell, perhaps we would see a modern-day Roman Federation, its institutions established not a few decades ago, but millennia earlier. Europe today might remain more unified politically, culturally, and economically under a single heritage of Roman values. The global reach of Roman influence could have fused the distant corners of the planet far earlier than in our real timeline. Or perhaps the challenges of governing such a vast empire would have eventually fractured it, but in very different ways, with new nations and empires emerging from Roman provinces instead of medieval kingdoms. This is just one way history could have unfolded had the Roman Empire never fallen. What's your take? Do you think this prolonged empire would have benefited humanity or held it back in unseen ways? Let us know in the comments. If you enjoyed exploring this alternate timeline, make sure to check out more content on our channel for history enthusiasts like you. And don't forget, hit that subscribe button and join us as we keep uncovering the fascinating what-ifs of history. See you in the next adventure.